gently, and it's going to have a spring inside here. And I've got to get to that spring without letting it pop. Okay, there it is. Now, see all this grit? That's all got to come out. Okay, and then this is rotating around. Okay. I'm going to reach up underneath here and pull that spring down out of the hole. There we go. Now I should be able to lift it over and out of the hole. All right. Wow. Yeah, I'd say that it's had some hard usage. Either that or just neglect. It could be that it just sat in that garage corner for 50 years and collected every bit of everything that fell its way. I really need to get that off. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take this off, but I don't think I have one that small. So we'll see. Yeah, that's going to come off just fine. All right, we're going to take this nut off right here. And there's a little washer on it. A little washer. Okay, got that off. We should be able to lift this out. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to take this little roller out and just leave that to dangle right there. And it should probably come out off this end, but we're going to leave it there. I'm not going to force that. Okay, with that out of the way, now I can scrub down inside here. Okay, now let's wipe it all down. All right, we're gonna take this cotton swab and shrink it down in size as best we can. See if we can get it to work down in there. It doesn't want to. But, nope, that groove is smaller than my cotton swab. So, I think we'll have to do with wiping it out best we can and let that be. All right, now if we look at the other side of this, we scrubbed this side up. Now look at the back side. This is the side that rides up against the rotor. And like I said, there was a lot of dirt and grit inside this. You guys have been with me during this, so you know, you saw it yourselves. Let's see if we can scrub this clean now. All right, that's got that cleaned out. And let's go work on this spring. Okay, now usually these springs have a tag in, one that sticks over to the side and one that sticks straight up. This one, they both stick straight up. So this spring can be installed either direction. All right, it's got that. And the last piece, well, two more pieces. This one here, we're gonna scrub this up a little bit. Okay, we're gonna clean out these teeth on this. Now it looks like a gear, but it actually isn't. It's the clicker cog for the drag. But if it's all caked up full of dirt and grease, it's not going to be able to click. So make sure it's cleaned out and that the teeth and everything look good. And that brings us down to this guy. And we'll brush him up good. And let's run a cotton swab through it. Oh yeah, it definitely needed that. All right, now that's ready to go back in. Okay, we're going to pause while we clean all this mess up. We're not going to put it back together in this dirty environment. So we're going to pause and I'll come right back. All right, we're back. Now, things are cleaned up a bit. Let's see if we can put this bale back together. Okay, first off, there should be a hole down inside this, and there's the hole right there. You can see it from this side. It's much larger. No, that's the hole for that. Okay, where's the hole? Okay, look through it. Okay, I don't see a hole. It's got to have one though. All right, I'm going to take and wipe this out with a piece of paper towel on the end of a screwdriver and see if that doesn't make it easier to see this hole. Yeah, see, there's still trash down in there. And trash isn't going to make it work better. Not only that, but it also makes it so I can't see. There it is. Okay, difficult as it may be to see, we're going to zoom in. Maybe you can see it in the camera. Okay, there is the hole right there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the hole right there that the spring, the tag end has to fit into. So we're going to I know that this is a pretty big wire, but I might be able to get it to slide into that hole. Okay. There we go. Now we've got a hole going all the way through. It had something caked up inside it, and I've been able to run this piece of wire in. But yeah, there was dirt and grease in that hole keeping, now see? Oh, there we go, see? I've got the wire stuck in the hole now. All right, so there is a hole there. It just had too much stuff in it for the spring to be able to get into the hole. So now let's put the spring in. And let's zoom this back out so you can see what's going on. All right. There. That's got the spring down in the hole. All right, we're going to keep this wire over out of the way. All right, now your clicker is on this side, so that's where your click notch is going to be, over here. All right. Now we're going to put this tag end wire in this hole here. Like so. Oh, missed it. And my eyes aren't what they used to be, so I do have a little trouble with this. Okay, we're going to move that tag end over out of the way. Bring this around. And we're going to hold it right there in that position. I'm going to bring it in so you can see it. I'm going to hold it in that position. And we're going to put this screw back in. Now, I do not grease bales. I oil them. Grease just collects too much dirt and grease and sand and everything else. I always oil my bales. Okay, once you get some oil on it, let's go ahead, tighten it down some more. Make sure that you've got it lined up properly. And we do not. And I put it on backwards. All right, let's take this back off. Okay, how many of you out there in TV land caught me doing that? All right. Wire in. Okay. Now see how we're catching right here? What we've got to do is we've got to bring this bail out. We're going to have to loosen this up and gently get this up and over that in order to get it where it needs to be. Okay. Let's take it up a little bit more. Almost there. There we go, up and over, right there. And that's where we want that to catch. Get it up onto the shoulder of the screw. There we go, that locks it there. The trips it, there we go. All right. Now, at this point, we've got to put this roller assembly back on, like so, and it goes either way. Then we're going to put on this washer and this nut. And we will tighten the nut back down. All right, there it trips. And when the rail comes around, there it goes. And put a little bit of oil in this end over here, just to lubricate it. All right, now this trip release doesn't want to catch every time. Gets to right there and it stops instead of going where it's supposed to. So what we need to do is lubricate that just slightly, I think, and that will probably take care of that. All right, that being done, let's move back over here. Let's come back here. Tension washer, and apparently, if I was to push it real hard, this gear would come out. Well, we're gonna put it there, take this nut, tighten this nut back down. But that nut is not what holds the spinner head on. Okay? Once we've done that, now we take the sleeve, slide the sleeve back in, like so. On the bottom side goes this clear shim washer. Now, turn this around and slip it back in to the body. This groove has to go up and slide it in until this hole right here lines up to this hole here. like that. Once you've done that, you're ready to put the screw back in. Okay, once you got that done, we're ready to slide the axle shaft back in. And the flat side of that should go up. And your crosswind block sits into it just like that. Let's zoom back in again. Okay, let me show you again. Check this out. First, let's go ahead and oil this shaft. Slide it in with this flat side up. I'm going to add a little bit more oil here. Okay, flat side goes up. Once you get it in, then you're going to take your crosswind block right here. Before we put it on, let's put some grease here and some grease over here. Put a little bit on our crosswind block too. And sit the crosswind block down inside there and line up that hole that the screw goes into. Once you've done that, drop your screw in. And let's tighten the screw back down. All right, with that done, that should slide easily, and it does. Now, we're ready to put this side back in. We've got our plastic gear here. And remember we said, let's open this back up to here. Remember we said we wanted to put grease over here on the anti-reverse side of the gear, so that when it turns in there, it's going to click here, but it won't be scraping against the plastic. Let's go ahead at this point, pull the anti-reverse up. Don't lose this. This is your other clear shim. This one goes on the back right here. Just like that. So that when this slides in, you've got a shim in there. Now, did we oil this yet? If not, let's go ahead and put some oil on here. Now, before we put this on, we want to put some grease on the pinion gear, and we want to put grease on the main gear. Now notice that we're only putting the grease just where it needs to be, and we're not caking it in there so that it's going to pool up all along the sides like it did before. Okay, we're going to put some in the crosswind block itself. And then we'll put some on the inside of the gear here, because that's where the crosswind block is going to ride. I'm going to slip this back off. Make sure that shim stays in place. Sit this into the crosswind block. Like so. With that in, slip the side plate back on. Slip that back on. We're going to put in the long back screw just to hold it for a second so it doesn't pop out. All right, Now, let's turn it and see. Now notice the center shaft is going up and down. That's what we wanted. Okay, we can slip this on here if we want for just a second. And that's not going to stay, but there we go. Oh, that turns so smooth. All right, got that. Let's put the last 2 screws in the side plate. Okay, now let's see if we can clean this guy up, this handle. Okay, it looks pretty corroded. Let's spray it down with some WD-40. I'm going to do this off camera because I don't want to mess up the table. Okay, this isn't going to clean up any better than it started. It's smooth now instead of being rough, but it's pretty tarnished. Okay, we're going to, I don't want to use oil for this. I want to use a little bit of grease because this was really hard coming off. I have cleaned the threads. We want to slide this back on and reattach the knob. Now what's going on? It's so much easier than it came off. All right. There we go. Oh, man, that is so nice. Engage the anti-reverse. Okay, that brings us down to this spool. I'm going to go off camera for a minute, and I'm going to clean this thing up. Well, I'm not going to clean it up off camera, but I am going to take this line off. And, wow, this is a heavy spool. But, yeah, we're going to clean this up. But it needs some time and care, so I'm going to go off camera for a minute and come back. Okay, I got the line off, and there was an easy way to do it, which I did, and that was to remove the 3 screws out of the bottom down here. And once they were removed, it allowed me to separate this bottom off and just pull the line right off the end, pretty much in one clump. So that was kind of a nice feature. But let's go ahead, and I put 1 screw in just to hold it in place so that I could show you what I was talking about. If you look, most spools have a ring up here at the top that you can take out. This one doesn't have that. There isn't a removable ring. You have to take the bottom off in order to take the drag washers out. Okay, so we'll pop off the bottom, and we're going to push the drag washers down. It's got an interesting stack. It's just got 1 metal washer and then 2 big leather washers. So that's all that's in there for the drag stack. I would have thought there would be 1 more metal washer in there, but I looked and there just really isn't much room for one. So let's go ahead and scrub this thing up. I am going to come back one day. If you look at the spool, it's corroded pretty bad on the bottom side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and sand this down one day and clean it up and repaint it. No, that paint won't be original to it, but it will help protect it and keep it from getting any worse. Yeah, see, all this paint's just flaking off at the bottom of this spool. So we're going to clean that up. I'll repaint it. But for now, for this video, I'm just going to take and wipe it down, and we'll get it all back together. That at least removed the corrosion off of it. It is a nice spool. It is not a quick release spool. They did put quick release spools on these, but it wasn't until like 1955 or 56, I think it said. If you don't know anything about Herters, it's interesting to go out and research it. I found a lot of interesting information out there about it. He was a very private man who didn't want people to know much about him. People tried to get him to come out and give interviews and such, but he didn't want to do that. He kind of wanted to let his products speak for themselves, which in many cases they did. Sometimes they were great products. Sometimes they were not up to the claims that he made. He claimed a lot of things were absolute perfect. You know, this is the perfect fishing reel. This is the perfect fishing lure. You'll never need another fishing lure. That kind of thing. And so when you make those kind of claims, yes, there's going to be some people who aren't very happy with you sometimes. But let's go ahead and put this guy back together. We'll drop in the metal washer. We're going to come back and we're going to lubricate these leather washers with some Cal's universal dry grease. I'm not getting paid anything to advertise for Cal's. I just it seems to be what everybody out there in the internet world is using for their high quality fishing reels. So I bought myself some and I've been using it and I've been very happy with it. We lubricated those. Let's slide this back in and we're going to rotate this around until we line up the holes right there. There's one hole. There's two holes. Okay. All three screws are identical. Let's get one started and that should help with the rest. Whatever happened to Herter's? Well, Herter's went bankrupt eventually. And I think it was Cabela's bought out the name. And so there is still Herter's things being made out there. But they're not by the original company. That's just the name being used at Cabela's, I think it is. And I think Cabela's is out of business now. I think they got bought out by somebody. But Herter's was around for a long time. And back when you couldn't just run down to Walmart or Kmart or wherever, Bass Pro Shop to buy your fishing gear, a lot of people looked at the catalogs and ordered their stuff online. It was the fisherman's version of the Sears catalog, I guess. And I never heard of them. That was all before my time, for the most part. I grew up in the Walmart, Kmart world. Be careful with this spring that you don't crush it. You can work the screw around it like I just did. Just make sure not to get the screwdriver hung in the edge of it and bend it out of shape. You could disconnect it, but I find it's easier just to work around it. Okay, tighten the screws down. There we go. Okay, we're going to drop the spool back on. Let's see, it's got a single pin. Line that pin up with the slot on the shaft. There we go. Once you get that to happen, oh, got one last piece we haven't cleaned up. Be careful with this plastic. Whatever you do, I wouldn't advise using a wire brush on it because I think it would probably flake a lot of it away. This is a 50-year-old piece of plastic. So be gentle with it. Take care of it because you're not likely to find another one unless you bought a whole reel or a parts reel off of eBay. All right, let's screw the knob back on. There's your drag. See if we can tighten it down. Yes, we can. That's pretty tight. We don't want to go too far and break the ears off. Okay, so there we have it. The Herter's Model 109 spin cast reel. Look at that. Works like a dream. Oh, just as I say that. it doesn't catch. There we go. Her 70 reel, it looks pretty good. And anyway, I'm sorry that this video was so long, but this reel was in pretty rough shape and we had to do a lot to it. I've kind of gotten to where reels that don't need a lot, just taken apart and clean. What I'm kind of getting to is I'll take them apart in advance and clean them so that you don't have to sit through the cleaning. But this one was going to need so much, I decided to do the whole thing all at once. I've been putting this reel off for quite some time because I wanted to make sure I knew enough about how to repair a reel before I got into this one, because I didn't want to damage it, which I still almost did, as you were witness to. If you like what you saw here today, by all means, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, I understand. Everybody's not going to be satisfied with what everybody does all the time. And that's okay. Hit the dislike button and tell me what you didn't like. Maybe I can fix it, make it better. I'm always here for improvement. This is the second video I've shot under high resolution video. This is the first one I've done with my new camera stand. I'm shooting with my iPhone 12 and it seems to be working fine. And what I was having trouble with last night is I had it mounted on a tripod on the table, and when I would bounce the table, the whole camera would jiggle and wiggle, and it made for a horrible video. So today I set up a new tripod with a homemade stand that I used, and it seems to be working pretty good. I don't think you had too much distortion. The only problems that we might have had is when I would zoom in and forget to zoom back out again. Anyway, this is Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, and signing out. You have a great day.